Hola, soy yo, Profesora Ebert. I am going to talk to you today about the gender of words in Spanish. As English speakers, the only things that actually have a gender to us are people or animals. In many other languages of the world, however, all nouns actually have a gender, not just people or animals. It seems strange to us that a table would be a feminine word and that coffee would be a masculine word, doesn't it? But this is simply how many other languages are set up, including Spanish. All nouns and all adjectives in Spanish actually have gender. What is a noun? Remember, a noun is a person, place, or thing. What is an adjective? An adjective is a describing word like ugly, smart, happy, or green. So, all people, places, things, and describing words in Spanish actually have a gender. How can we tell what is what then? There are a few things that will tell you what the gender of a word is in Spanish. The first rule is that if a word ends in the letter O, it is usually a masculine word. Some examples are bolígrafo, the Spanish word for pen, vestido, the Spanish word for dress, and libro, the Spanish word for book. Another rule is that if a word ends in the letter A, it is usually a feminine word. Some examples are sala, the Spanish word for room, goma, the Spanish word for eraser, and casa, the Spanish word for house. It is important to keep in mind that you cannot predict the gender of a noun in Spanish, so do not try. For example, English speakers might think that the word for dress in Spanish would be a feminine word, but it isn't. It is actually vestido. The word is actually masculine in Spanish because it ends in an O. Another thing to keep in mind when determining the gender of words in Spanish are the articles el, la, los, and las. You already know that el and los are the masculine words for the, and that la and las are the feminine words for the. You can tell the gender of a word in Spanish from looking at which article comes in front of words. For example, la universidad, the Spanish word for university, is feminine, even though it doesn't end in the letter A. You can tell because the article used with the word is la. This is why it is so important to memorize the el, la, los, and las with your new vocabulary words. They will always tell you what gender a word is in Spanish. Generally, it is also said that words that end in the letters ción, sion, dad, or tad are also usually feminine words. For example, la felicidad is the Spanish word for happiness, and la atención is the Spanish word for attention. Now, of course, there are exceptions to the gender rules. There are a few words in Spanish that are rule breakers, and you will just have to memorize them. For example, the word el mapa, or map, has the masculine article el, but ends in the letter A. When this happens, go with the article in front of the word to determine the gender. Since the article in this case is el, we can tell that the word for map in Spanish is actually a masculine word. Like we talked about before, the rules of gender apply to adjectives as well as to nouns. Remember, adjectives are words like ugly, smart, happy, or green. If an adjective ends in the letter O, like the Spanish word rojo, or red, or alto, the Spanish word for tall, the O will change to an A when modifying a feminine noun. Rojo would become roja, and alto would become alta. For example, the red book would be el libro rojo, because the word book, libro, is masculine. But the red bed would be la cama roja, because the word bed, cama, is feminine. The same would be true for the tall boy, or el chico alto, and the tall girl, or la chica alta. The adjectives that end in the letter E, however, do not need to change gender. For example, the word inteligente, or intelligent, does not need to change. The intelligent boy would be el chico inteligente, and the intelligent girl would be la chica inteligente. The same is true for any adjective ending in a consonant, which is any letter that is not a vowel. For example, the Spanish word popular, which means popular, does not need to change because it ends in an R, which is a consonant. The popular boy would be el chico popular, and the popular girl would be la chica popular. That's it for now. Time to practice. Adios.